Hello, beautiful people. How you doing? Today's topic is going to be about people pleasing. Stop doing it. If that's the gist of this video, is just to stop doing it. How to reclaim your authentic self, and this builds self confidence. Just to define what is people pleasing, right? These are characteristics that you want to take a look at yourself and decide if this is something that you do, right? And just stop doing it. And we're going to talk about how to get into that and how to prevent all those things from occurring, right? One of the big ones is you're overcommitting. You're overcommitting to please others. Um, the thing is that when you put yourself last, you are causing yourself to automatically get hurt, right? Because you're basically telling the world and you're telling yourself that you don't matter. I'm telling you today, you matter. You matter more than anything. One of the things that, if you want to Google, if you need a reminder, is this is a picture that is always something to just remind you, especially for moms out there. And it's something that we tend to forget. Not, and again, I'm not a mom, but I'm just saying women in general or parents in general forget is that, when you go on an airplane and they show you that diagram of the child getting the oxygen mask put on their face. Um, you have to really look carefully and notice that the mom actually has on her oxygen mask first, right? And that is so important because the moment that you remember to put on the oxygen mask before you put it on for your child, you have the chance of both of you guys surviving. But if you just put on that mask, you're basically just telling the world, you're telling yourself that your child matters more than you. And yes, that is true, but at the same time, it needs to be equal because your child still needs you. So it's important to remember that you don't want to just please others. You want to put yourself first so that you can help others, right? Um, so not to get off topic and everything, so these are another characteristic of people pleaser is avoiding conflicts, right? Not being able to speak up for yourself. This is unfortunately one of the big components when it comes to abusive relationships, and how people that have that type of abusive and you know um, what's the word I'm looking for? They have the control over you as an individual is because you're avoiding cost and you're not acknowledging your self worth. So these are things that you want to work on, right? And then the other one is seeking approval, constantly seeking approval, asking your friends, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right thing? One of the things that I've learned, and you can study it and research it, especially with women, when they come to nurturing, they have instinct, amazing instinct, but it's misused, especially in today's society, because we're second guessing or questioning ourselves all the time. This is one thing, if you guys want to write it down, understand there is no such thing as right or wrong decisions. I'm going to repeat that again. There is no such thing as right or wrong decisions. What there is there are decisions being made, right? And you have to be able to approve your decisions. The outcome of that decision does not come till later. So you won't know whether or not it's quote unquote right or wrong until after the decision is made. All you have to do is make decisions. Determining and trying to predict the future is just a waste of energy, and it's not going to support you or help you in any way, because the decision is just all you have to do. What the outcome is, you will determine when it happens. And what's great is if you see that, okay, this wasn't an ideal situation, there are still things that you can learn from and grow from that you wouldn't have experienced if you didn't make the decision. So don't harp so much on trying to make the decision. Okay. These are very, very powerful things of understanding how to prevent people pleasing, right? And then the last one is another definition, a characteristic of people pleasing is neglecting personal needs and boundaries. And I think we've already kind of covered that. and explaining, look, you just have to keep telling yourself that you matter, and that's what matters, right? So some of the negative impacts of people pleasing is you have increased stress and burnout. So if you're suffering from, always being stressed, high tension, and especially if you're a single mom and stressing out about your kids because your kids are, basically they run the house. This is the reason why, right? You're being too much of a people pleaser, and there needs to be some type of a balance for your own well-being, right? Because we need our moms. I lost my mom 9 years ago, and it still affects me, to this day. And we just don't want that. So you also have a loss of identity and authenticity. Uh, and that's something that you don't want. You don't want to lose yourself. Those days back when, especially women didn't matter, especially in relationships, we can no longer go back to that. We're on an equal playing field. There's enough studies and everything out there to know that everybody matters, and we have to keep reminding ourselves that. And men, if you're listening to, same thing. It applies to everyone. This is not something, especially when you're trying to improve your self-confidence, that you want to fall victim to or fall into at all. Okay. Because what it leads to is decreased self-esteem and confidence, right? And that's the big one. That's the big thing that is really going to make us shine and feel good about ourselves. Is we got to have that and self-confidence and self-esteem, right? And that's what's going to make it, when we know that we shouldn't be in relationships and start thinking in scarcity more than abundance, is going to keep us staying in a relationship, because we don't see our self-worth. You have to see your self-worth. You have to know that if this person is not right for me, then I can just leave, because there's somebody else out there for you. And that's thinking in abundance. And that's just thinking about knowing that you don't have to please somebody else for you to have to lose, right? Because again, every single time you're going to lose. All right. Um, and that is one of the things, like when it comes to relationships, you lack genuine connections, right? Because the person always has the upper hand on you, and you don't need that. You don't want that. You have resentment and frustration due to not letting your own personal needs come first. And then you're always dependent on your partner, and you're dependent on others, codependency dynamics and things like that. So, um, and then the big one is, of course, you have a hard time just expressing yourself and expressing your wants and needs. So, these are all negative impacts when it comes to people pleasing, and really how to resolve those issues. Um, Now, one thing you probably want to ask yourself is, why do people do this, right? Because uh, this is something that we see quite a bit, and I'm sure you have a friend, or maybe you're experiencing this yourself when it comes to this. Um, the biggest one is that there's just fear of rejection, some type of criticism. You're always trying to please others. You want to have some type of acceptance or belonging, which is a false sense of security, right? Because how you accept, as long as you accept you, that's all that matters. You are going to find people that don't accept you, and that's okay. You can't please everybody, right? Some people are going to watch this video and it's not going to be appealing to them, or they're going to, the community. That's okay, right? Because everything balances itself out. But as long as you have the confidence, as long as you believe in you, that's really what matters. And the biggest one is that you just have low self worth or insecurities about yourself. So, just some real quick things on how to I've already kind of gone over a few, but how to overcome these, uh, issues of falling into people pleasing, right? You want to recognize it and acknowledge it, and know that when someone is taking advantage of you, that you know how to say no. Establishing clear boundaries and sticking to them. It is okay to say no to somebody, because a lot of times when you leads to all the yeses, you end up enabling that person anyways. You got to see people capable of figuring things out on their own, and even sometimes kids, right? At a certain age, you got to say, hey, look, it's time to fly. So, hanging on to that person or hanging on to that individual and not having them look at their worth, right? Because this can affect them too. This is something that I had to personally experience, when I was growing up. Um, and I'm glad that I've overcome it and seen it, but it wasn't until I started really looking at myself and doing all this work that I was able to make those changes, right? Because for the longest I was dependent and codependent on other people to want to take care of me and to want to look to others for me to fix my own problems. And these things can be you can live with you for the rest of your life if you allow it. So, those parents out there that are just enabling their kids, you're doing more harm than good when it comes to this. And it's something that you want to continue to work on, and show them that they are more than capable. Because really, that's all it is, right? You're taking away from the ability for them to believe in themselves. So even though you think you're doing more good to them, you're actually doing more harm. Okay. And that's something that is very important, because as humans, we need to know that we can survive on our own. We have to build up our own self confidence. And when you have someone who's constantly enabling you, you're never going to let that person feel valid, that they can actually make a difference in this world, which they can't, right? Because we're all capable. And that's something that you want to, be able to do. So just a couple of things. Do self affirmations, right? I am statements. These are very powerful, statements that you can use in your personal life and just say daily. There's plenty of, sleep meditation videos to really work on this. I'm going to do a full video in the future on Napoleon Hill's self confidence formula, because I mean, that was something that really helped and changed my life, because it was something that I said twice daily out loud, and going over exactly what that looks like and how that works. And then also the big thing is you want to surround yourself around people who understand this, right? If you're around a bunch of people that are people pleasing and they just tell you you can do no wrong and that you are, everything is fine, when they know that you could be doing better and they're not constantly challenging you, you got to get better friends, or limit your time with those friends that are around you being people pleasers, because they're just doing the exact same thing that you're doing and it's not helping anybody, right? We don't need to always be liked. We just want to be respected. And people will like you and love you more when they respect you. And that's something that, again, I had to learn and understand. And there's a big difference in understanding that. And this is what's going to boost your self esteem and boost who you are as a person. So that's it for today. Just wanted to kind of go that for you. There was a person, I think it was Valika 4908. They were the one who gave the suggestion for this video. So I want to give a shout out to them. If you guys have any suggestions on future videos that you want me to go over and talk about, please put it down in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe. Share this with your friends, especially if you have somebody who's going through this. And let's continue this discussion. Until next time, you guys make it a great day. Take care.